Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? Back with another video. I am set up so we can just jump right in. As always, just for those of you who haven't been to my channel, welcome. So I like to do gesture drawing on here and stuff like that for the live streams and just practice, like I said, gestures, anatomy, and in particular hands. So we'll do some anatomy today and then a few hands, and then we'll wrap up. All right, let's get started here. Just gonna get rid of that. And alrighty, put this over here. Alright, so as always, oops, I do need to set that up. As always though, if y'all have questions, just go right ahead and ask. I'll get to it as soon as I can. Sometimes I do get a little bit distracted as I'm trying to draw here. But I hope that y'all are all doing well. I hope you've had a really good week. Let me get the chat back up here because I'm goofying to leave it up. Alright, put it on this side here. Cool. Now we're fully set up. So, some of the things that I like to think about as I'm doing gesture drawing is just like the general flow of the form, shape, whatever figure that I'm drawing. And the same is true for basically anything, right? The first thing that you want to capture is the overall like flow of the pose that you're actually trying to replicate. And then on top of that, then you start to add stuff. The reason for that is because if you try to think about the flow, if you try to think about adding details first, then you're missing out on a lot of movement, and it's going to stiffen up your work quite a bit. So starting with flow and then adding on top of it will increase the liveliness of your work. If you're just beginning gesture drawing, I don't recommend what I'm currently doing, which is like 2.5 minutes of each pose. But doing a pose that's like pretty, or using a mannequin, I should say, that's like pretty structured. And I'm not gonna say it's the most accurate mannequin in the world, but when you start off with a structured mannequin, you're missing way too much on the flow part that I was just talking about. You want to start off simple in your art journey and then add detail as you go. Especially this process. Take your time with learning gesture and getting better at it. Trust me, I've spent years at this point now working just on gestures, and I do them multiple times a week. and it's taken me that long to get to this point, and my gestures aren't perfect. They're good, but they're not perfect, right? So yep, just making sure you take your time, be patient with yourself, remind yourself that art is not a sprint, it is a marathon. There's no shortcuts to getting better besides putting in the work. The shortcut is to study stuff regularly and build upon that. Learn the fundamentals and apply them every day to all of your drawings. That's kind of the shortcut. And that's not really, doesn't sound short because it's really not. But I promise you, you do the fundamentals on a regular basis for weeks and weeks and weeks. Well, also, you want to have fun too. That's the purpose. But you work on the fundamentals on a consistent basis. Yo, what's up, Coop? Oh man, it's been a while. It's been a while since you've been on a stream, man. I'm glad you joined. I was just thinking about you, actually. Missed you, bud. You learn the fundamentals and consistently practice the fundamentals, and you will 1000% improve quicker than somebody who's not. And again, like I was talking about earlier, you want to do it, but also still enjoy it, right? Still enjoy your art. Don't just do fundamentals. The best way I think to practice really is you find the fundamental that you need to work on the most, and then you consistently practice it, right? But you can work on a project and practice the fundamental that you really feel like you needed to work on to improve, and apply it to that personal piece, right? Or that project that you have. That'll make it a little bit more fun and make it feel more manageable versus like it's really boring to just like hammer like perspective, for instance, every single day. That's whew. I feel like this song was just on, so I'm gonna change it. Let's do my favorite. Oh, you're good, Coop. Yeah, I'm sure. School getting ready to start back up for you, man? I feel like you don't have too much time, right? So a lot of people ask if I use reference when I draw. Oh man, so you only got a couple of weeks of break left. You feeling prepared? People typically ask me on here like, oh, are you using a reference for these? The answer is yes. I do use a reference for when I do these streams because I'm practicing and I'm trying to learn, but I don't have to anymore, and I can kind of show that in just a bit. I've gotten to a point where I can do most poses that aren't super duper complex from imagination. But these poses are ones that I'm trying to memorize. I'm putting in my visual library. Let's see here. I can probably shrink this head down a little bit. So one thing that I recommend, once you start getting better at gesture, start to learn your anatomy, and then you can start to take that knowledge that you gain from learning anatomy and apply it to your gestures, and it'll help you observe better as well. You have good anatomy and good gesture, you're gonna have pretty good looking characters. The piece right now that I'm currently working on is I'm starting to work more on just hyper focusing on perspective, because I think that's like kind of the last piece I really need to start doing really good imaginative pieces. I just find sometimes, like when I just rely on the gesture practice, sometimes I make mistakes because of perspective. So I'm going back through and starting to learn that over again. It's not that I don't know it, it's that I just haven't practiced it regularly enough. So that would be the next thing, because all that stuff, I mean, and you don't have to go that direct order. Sorry, I know I'm jumping all over the place and trying to like concentrate, and I also saw Coop's message in the back of my head, and I wanted to answer that too. I always do this with this head. But yeah, you don't have, there's like not like a specific order. You can do perspective first, but I would start off with either perspective or gesture, and then work on anatomy next, and then fill in the gap. I mean, really, I think you can either do perspective, gesture, perspective, gesture, anatomy, gesture, anatomy, perspective, or that's kind of it. Anatomy has to come after gesture, though, is what I'm trying to get to. And how have things been going for me? I've been doing pretty well overall. Yeah, I have some changes coming soon that I'll announce once they're finished, but other than that, I mean, that's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. But other than that, everything's been going well. How are you and your family been, Coop? All right. What I'll do is actually I'll do 5 more gestures with reference, and then I'll stop and do 5 without, just to kind of show like what it can look like to do gestures without any kind of reference. What happens is like over time. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that your family's doing well, living life, having a good time this summer. What was I saying? Over time, what ends up happening is 1, you start to memorize poses, but 2, you kind of like start to just gather information and knowledge on proportions and how things are supposed to look in the human body. And that's really like, that's the sweet spot. Once you start to really get good at just inherently understanding the proportions of the stuff that you're drawing, the bodies that you're drawing, it will really open the door up for you, because you just like I said, it becomes second nature and you don't have to think. It's just like, oh yeah, this is this length, this is this length. I mean, of course you should always check. You shouldn't just be like arrogant about it and just be like, oh no, this is fine, like I don't have to worry about this anymore. You should always check, because sometimes when we're doing odd positions and things of that nature, like really energetic looking poses, things can go awry. But once you start inherently doing that, it's very freeing, actually. Right, I'm trying to think back here. I think that the belt would probably end right in there, so we'd get quite a bit of that. What I'm doing is I'm just kind of blocking in. Like, I'm not super worried about the muscles here. Like, I don't want them to be perfect, but I'm just trying to block them in to the best that I can, given the time. Then of course, like, erasing little things and stuff like that. Coop, how's like DJ and Pat been? Y'all still playing games together and stuff? Another thing too that's like really important that people sometimes don't think to do, and this is like people like falling victim to game addicts. Good. People falling victim to looking a little bit too much at finished pieces and not enough at pieces that aren't totally finished, like the stuff that I'm doing now. Make sure that you draw through stuff, meaning like this shoulder here, how I have like the rib cage here and I have this oval shape for the shoulder and I just drew it, right? The reason for that is because that helps you get your proportions down, and it makes it so that things aren't like, see, I was just getting ready to do it right there. Things are on a continuum and it doesn't look like, give me 1 second. I can give you an example. I just wanted to finish this out. Almost there. Sorry. So like some of like the least professional stuff that you'll see is like, suppose there's like a box here and we're trying to draw like a really flat horizon line and people do this and it doesn't look bad, but if I were to remove this box, you can see up here this line is higher than the other line, right? So that means that your horizon's now crooked. So instead, draw straight through it, right? And that makes a huge difference. That's a really boring example, but it will make your figures look really, really bad if you don't do it. And you don't do it consistently as you're doing your preliminary like sketch of whatever you're trying to draw. And it's something that is very apparent once you like really understand what the human body is supposed to like look like, and really like even if people as a whole aren't necessarily great at drawing the human body, like not everybody can do what I'm currently doing or do what you probably are capable of doing. People can look at a body, whether drawn or what have you, and tell if something is off. They might not be able to point it out, but they can tell. And that's one of those things that if you make that mistake, everybody will be able to tell. Even if they can't point, like actually say, oh, it's this particular thing, everybody will be able to tell. And people will think that your drawing looks bad or it's not professional. So just keep that in mind. Drawing through. It's a very simple thing. It's not like, I don't think that's groundbreaking news by any means, but I think it's something that can be forgotten, especially again, oh, thanks for the hearts, everybody, especially again when you're so used to seeing those really well done like Instagram posts, or if you're on ArtStation or anything like that, you get used to seeing that so frequently you forget that people have a process, they have a workflow that they abide by. If you're wondering what this woman is doing, she's actually, throwing a javelin, which is something I used to do in college. Fun fact about me. I was a two-sport athlete in college. I played football and I ran track. Thanks for the hearts. Appreciate it. What game you been playing recently, Coop? I see that DJ and maybe Pat. I know that at least one of the two of them plays Overwatch, the new one. All right. But what you been playing? I've still been playing a lot of Zelda. I've like slowed down a little bit because I'm trying to focus, like get refocused on my drawing and stuff, but I've probably put like 140 hours into that game at this point. Yeah, one of my friends, his name is Jake. This dude, he plays, but he hates the ranking system, and I think that he's pretty good. I don't know, but like his rank is just like so sporadic. Like he just is like, I have no idea why I'm at the rank that I'm at. It's so funny because he'll be at like platinum and then he'll be at like silver and then he's like back up, and then it's just so funny, and he's always complaining about it, and I'm like, bruh, like you don't have to play this game, you know that, right? So like another example of drawing through, like here, right? I'm not gonna finish this out because you can't see this this opposite arm, but I want it to do what I just did so that it makes sense, right? So now I can erase this away. And even if people don't necessarily think that it's correct, it is, right? I just drew it. You just saw me draw like where everything goes. I mean, it's about as correct as I can make it, at least for right now. But that's an example of making sure you draw through. I really do like this pose a lot. Finished Breath of the Wild, started playing Hades on Hat's Reckoning. Is that any good? I could have finished Breath of the Wild like 12 times by now. Like, I've been stalling. I'm trying to like do as much as I can before I like formally finish the game. Just because it's just such an expansive game. Like, so much you can do. I've been trying to get like some of the more obscure like armor sets and stuff. It's been a lot of fun. It's one of the rare games that's come out recently, I feel, that was like a big name game that you could tell they put a lot of like love and passion into it. Nice. Yeah, I like the Dark Souls games, for instance, so I'm like kind of used to the dying aspect of games. I beat the first Dark Souls. I don't even want to... I can't even guess how many times I died. Holy crap. Died so many times playing that game. As far as anatomy is concerned, I don't know if there's too much else I really need to do for this one. One thing I'm trying to do a better job of is not feeling like I have to draw more than I am for stuff, because my gestures are pretty solid, but then I go into like trying to go to the next phase in my own workflow, and I overcorrect stuff, and it makes my drawings look a little stiffer than what they could. So I've been trying to work on that. So I'm gonna do like 5-ish imaginative gestures. First thing I gotta do though is I have to turn on the air conditioner. It's really hot in here, so give me 1 second. But I'm gonna do 5-ish imaginative gestures, and then we'll move on to hands. Ready? I am back. So let's get some of these done. This one's a roguelite, so you'll end up restarting from the beginning, but you can upgrade yourself to get better. Ah, that's interesting. Alright. Let's do... So this is going to be a relatively like simple gesture. It's just going to be viewed from a slightly difficult angle, which is an angle like that. Or if I was to draw this in a box, it would be kind of like that. I struggle with these a little bit, which is why I'm trying to practice without reference. Also been playing Risk of Rain 2, but I've had it for years, which is a rogue. So you lose all your progress, but it's fun. Nice. I don't know how, I haven't played a game like that before, I don't think, where you like lose all progress and have to start over. Besides like Majora's Mask is kind of like that. I would consider it, it's not a roguelite, but it's kind of like that. Not if you die, but like if you miss the process of like turning back time and stuff, having to do things correctly. Alright, so we're good with that one. Again, I'm not going for perfection, right? Just trying to get something on. I do want to edit this really fast though. Cool. Next we will I'm gonna try to do a squatting pose. So I'm still thinking about like trying to think about perspective here, and things of that nature too, as I'm drawing. Squatting poses can be difficult. Post. So this is gonna go that. Here, okay. This leg, upper leg is a little short, I think. The one good part too about drawing from imagination is it tells you which things you need to study. Like, for instance, me messing up like this foot, and even really like this leg in general. It's not bad. Like, I think this passes, but that means that I need to go back and study those specific parts of anatomy from this angle. And that's okay, right? Like, that's what doing the imaginative work is for, right? And just practicing. It's so that later on down the road, you can memorize it. Squatting pose, so not too bad. Both need you to learn the enemies and how to deal with them so you don't die to them. Only difference is that lights will let you have permanent upgrades. Likes will not. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, that would probably drive me nutty. Sounds fun though. It sounds like a good challenge. Alright, next, let's do a little bit of a, like, foreshortened pose. I mean, all of them have been a little foreshortened, but, let's do a character throwing a punch. Um, so something about like foreshortened arms that's important to think about is you don't want the two segments to be going in the exact same direction. I'll show you what I mean by that in just a second. Give me 1 second here. I gotta think about, go back then forward. So sorry, 1 second. Sorry, I just want to figure out what I want to do with this leg. Actually, this one I want forward and the other one I want back. So what I mean by that is, like, when you're doing something that's foreshortened and it's like a limb, if you have them both on like the same plane, so like just going straight forward, it can work, don't get me wrong. What happens though is that it makes it kind of, it makes it stiff looking. So like for instance, let's do this, and then so that versus like I mean, this is really exaggerated, but like that. This one tends to typically look a little bit better because there's like a bend to it. And again, I really exaggerated the curve on that, but you kind of get you get the gist. All right, so yeah, I want this leg to come forward just a bit here. And then this one can actually come back a bit. Now I will fix this a bit here. And like, for instance, again, this isn't perfect. I would, go back, probably find my reference for it, make it a little bit better. But like the main thing here is the if you want, sorry, lost my train of thought. If you wanted it to look even more dynamic, what you do is you just twist the body more. So I could pull that chest that way and the hips further this way, and it would make it look more whippy. I wasn't going for that on this one, so that's why I drew it the way I did. All right, 1, 2, 3. Let's do. I don't know what's going on with my head. I keep like rubbing it because I have like, feels like there's like pressure on my brow line. It's weird. Let's do a quick. I might need to take my hat off. Give me 1 second. Oof. That might help. Ah, yeah, it's much better. All right, let's do a pose for I'll do the sorry, I'm trying to think of a different pose to do. I don't want to keep going back to the same kinds of like poses that I typically do from imagination. Yeah, let's try doing a pose that's a ant's eye view. Oh, jeez. Yeah, that sucks. Going in the final boss and something like that and you pass. That's not good. I would have cried a little bit. All right. I bet. Alright, so it is an anti-view, but I'm gonna do it like this. It's gonna be more of like a... That's true, that's true. So it's gonna be... This is what I would call like more of a 4-point perspective. And the reason for that is because I don't think I would have liked the look of it being completely anti-view. Can make these both longer. There's a gentle reminder in this perspective, right? As things go up in space, they get smaller, right? So you want to make sure that your head is pretty small in comparison to what it typically is. Oops. I can even curve this more, I think. So I'm just trying to get this, here we go, that's a little better. I wanted to get the rib cage looking a little bit better. It was bothering me. Alright, I think that one's good. And then finally, let's do a pose with okay, we'll do this pose. I think I can bend this just a bit more. So that's what I will do. And then back forward here. Could probably make the upper leg just a bit longer. This one is pretty foreshortened, so I'm not too worried about that. Foot, and then foot there, and cool. All right, so that's my gesture practice. So all of these ones are from imagination, and like besides line quality, I don't think you can really tell, which is good, right? That's what you want. Do they need work? Yeah. Of course, like still need to work on them, but it's a good start. It's a good base for you know, doing whatever you need. I am going to shrink this upper body just a bit and tilt it forward. Cool. All right, so now we're gonna move on. I'm gonna do some hands. Exit out, open up, select a folder. And of course, if y'all have any questions about any of this stuff, just go ahead and put it in there. Put it in the comments, I'll get to it. All right, so we're gonna do 10 hands, 5 minutes or 2 minutes, 30 seconds for each one, and then that'll be it for today. All right, this has been a good day, a good little practice. So I appreciate y'all joining me and chilling. It's always good to have people to talk to while I get my practice in. Alright, so just like any other artist, I don't like hands that much. But after doing this practice for, you know, a few weeks now, the one thing I will say is that as long as you take your time and like really break the hand down, it's not nearly as difficult. Not to say like I don't think my hands are great by any means, but I'm not scared to draw them anymore. I think that's important, right? You don't want to be scared of the thing that you're trying to draw. And hands are very intimidating. They just have so many different like parts to them that how do I want to do this? I think it's this piece I want to pull up a bit, that are just so you know, it's just so intricate, you know. All right. Oh no. All right, so I kind of ran out of yeah. Going to school can be mortifying. Alright, so this is a closed hand, aka a fist. And fists I think are much easier to draw, just because I'm gonna say that, and this is gonna be horrible looking, but it's because you're basically just drawing a block and then adding segments to it. I mean, this one came out fine. Now, I don't, again, hey, what's up, Andrew? I'm doing well, how are you? Now, I will say, too, like, I don't recommend doing what I'm doing if you're really, really uncomfortable with hands. You know, give yourself some time to figure out, like, your recipe for how you're going to construct them first, and then you can start like timing yourself and stuff like that. I time myself in doing these kinds of things because I'm a perfectionist. I think all artists are to some extent, but if I didn't do what I'm doing now, I would just never get the practice in, because I could sit here and chip away. And again, like, sometimes it's more beneficial just to move on and go to the next thing, see another hand that might give you ideas for why the hand you just drew was incorrect. Great, just finished another sketchbook. Nice, congrats, that's awesome. I was just talking about how finishing sketchbooks feels so good. It's been a while since I finished a sketchbook, and because I just do everything digital at this point for the most part. But like, what I need to do is I need to do a video or something where I just go through all of my gesture poses, because that's like my sketchbook. It's my virtual sketchbook at this point. just a slight change before I start to draw the fingers here. I always struggle with this particular view, and I'm not really sure why. So this is something I need to study at some point. I think that's one of the problems. It's just not like thick enough, wide enough, I should say. Nice. Yep. You gotta keep practicing, keep plugging away. Make sure you do some finished pieces too. That's one thing I've noticed about my art. Like, this stuff has improved vastly, but my ability to complete finished pieces hasn't, and that's because I haven't done as many finished pieces as I would like, which is another reason why I am really excited to start on my comic or my manga here in a little while. That's going to really increase the amount of finished pieces I do, because I'll be finishing probably like 20 and 30 pieces every couple of weeks. Alright. A good way to break hands down is this shape that I have here. I like to do this like triangular shape for the base part of the thumb down here. And then ovals for the two major segments of the fingers. I know the fingers have 3 segments, but if you start off with just 2, it'll allow you to get that third one in without too much difficulty. Sorry, give me 1 second, and I can talk a little bit about what I mean by that. Just need to edit this. Sorry, let me pause my program. So what I meant by that is like this part of your like fingers right here is the same length as this part pretty much. So from your big knuckle here to your second knuckle is about so this distance is about the same as from your second knuckle up to the tip of your finger. So if you just break it down into those 2 sizes, then you'll have a well-proportioned hand. And then if you need to bend like this part, this very last knuckle part to the fingertip, if you need to bend that at all, you can just bend this section first and then bend that section down. So yeah, and I don't know why, but I had this weird idea in mind, which I started doing just I would go to these good AR art generations. And I would generate images and try to break them down. Yeah, you can do that. Just be careful with AI art because it's not always super accurate. But that's a good idea. All right. Another thing that I like to do with hands, which is what you just saw a bit ago, is I like to draw this like, it's like mitten almost. Try not to use too much of the terms from Mark Brunet's art school here, but you can do like a glove like that has like the rounded part, because this distance should be the same as the distance between your knuckles and the middle finger. So if you put it in like I did here, if you start with that, you know, okay, like tips of my fingers are gonna follow like this kind of arc, and then the other part of the fingers is gonna follow that arc as well, so they're gonna be parallel to one another. So that's another good way to think about and break down. Not gonna worry about that hand anymore. This one. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. Do appreciate going back through and doing these hand practices because it's like I feel myself getting back into the flow of it, and it feels good versus like you don't draw hands for a bit because nobody likes to draw hands, and then you know it comes back and becomes more of a monster. Yeah, hands are difficult, but it's okay to have like really simple shapes to start with, and just you just add on, right? So it sounds like to me you're on the right track, Andrew. I don't think I've drawn this hand before, which is really odd to think about. Alright, so we got mitten. Just get the first knuckles in here. Sorry, let me I'm gonna pause this just for a second so I can look at your comments. Um, well, yeah, I know the important things to make them look nice, but I don't have the knowledge to make big hands, so ends up being a problem. Well, I did find a messy way to do it, but it makes me have to delete things and constantly fix mistakes, but it works. I mean, I would say like the important part of drawing hands is just trying the best that you can, one, but two, just getting in the gesture of the hand and then breaking it down. Like, I wouldn't worry about making them all look nice at first, because you have to find your like you're saying, you're starting to find a way, but you're having to fix the mistakes. That's a really good place to be, because you just build on that, right? You find a quicker way and a quicker way and a quicker way, and then eventually you're good to go. Can gesture and posture help me express more feelings to my character? Absolutely. Yep. Like for instance, I will draw this for you really fast, like very simple, but hopefully effective example. So you can tell me once I'm finished with both of these whether or not the pose helps convey these characters' emotions. And of course it's not coming out exactly how I want it to. But alright, so that's character 1. Make the head just a tad bit smaller. So that's character 1. And then this is character... well, I know quick ways, but I lack the knowledge. That's okay. Yep. You just keep, like, making the mistakes, erasing, going back. Practice the same kinds of hands. Don't think that you have to do all the hands, all the hand poses on the planet. Just pick a few that you know you'll be drawing kind of frequently. Practice those over and over and over again, and eventually you'll make mistakes still, but you'll make less mistakes, and you have a quicker way of getting to the end result than you did before. So that's that character, and then And then this is this character. So like this character here, like what kind of feelings does this character make you have, or what kind of feelings do you think that this character has? And then, sorry, this is really bothering me. What about this character? I know I didn't finish the legs, but I don't really have to. Does this character give you different feelings? I would say yes. Like for me, at least, this character comes off as shy, maybe anxious, while this character comes across as confident. Just me though, maybe not. Thanks, Mike. Also, do you suggest that you like exercise drawing other things when focused on drawing in a certain art style, like one that makes that draws manga should draw something outside of it? I think that you asked questions about style the last time you jumped on too. It's really hard because I'm the same way, but I don't think that you should worry about your art style too much, especially in the very beginning. The reason for that is because what an art style really is just how you draw specific things, right? And the way that you learn how to draw specific things is by drawing a lot of the things that you're going to be drawing, right? What I would suggest to kind of answer your question though is whatever styles you like, start to, on your like desktop or something, start to just save a folder and be like, oh man, I really like the way that this artist draws faces, and in particular eyes. So you'll save that, like a few images of that artist's like art with faces and eyes and stuff being like kind of the center of it. Save that onto a file and just keep doing that with stuff that you like, specific things, right? Like you can, like I said, faces, anatomy, line weight, colors, I don't know, clothes, like clothing folds, things like that. Keep that all in a file for yourself, and don't get too much. Don't go and find everything that you possibly can, but find some of the stuff that you really like and put those in a folder. And if you want to develop your style, study those ones a lot, and you'll develop it quicker. But yeah, I'll get to that too, to your second question or your second statement, because that one's important too. But yeah, that's the quickest way to find your art style. And don't find random stuff, right? Find professionals, because you don't want to learn how to draw things incorrectly. Andrew, you said, man, I do weird things and I'm bored. Medieval nerd. I started working on a full, so even. That's awesome though. You should, if you like doing that stuff, that's awesome. I'm not a huge armor person, but that's really cool. Give me 1 second, Diego. I'll get to your comment too. Yeah, I think that someone should have an art style that makes you unique. Sorry if asking those questions, but I kind of want advice. Is just, yeah. So I agree with you. Like, art style does make you unique, but if you're a like, good artists can tell when an art style isn't their actual style and instead they're drawing things incorrectly. So like, having the fundamentals will allow you to copy any art style you want. That's why I'm like, it's hard for me to answer for you, because one, I've always been on the same boat. I've always been like, oh man, I need to find a style. But I've learned over time that I find a style that I like to draw in, and then a month or two later, my drawings, like, I've gotten better, and now that style doesn't fit what I want anymore because I've gotten better, and I'm like, this actually doesn't really look that good. It's fun to find a style though, so I don't want to discourage you from doing that, but doing the stuff that I'm doing and like studying anatomy and stuff like that and finding the artist that you like will really help. And break it down into simple parts. Don't try to do it all at once. Like, how to draw this and that was the second part of your statement. Like, once you have that question, oh man, how do you draw faces right? Find artists that you really enjoy that are professionals, like I said, and put that file on your folder, or put that folder on your desktop, save those files, and try to draw those faces like that artist. You'll learn a lot, and it'll start helping you make your style. The best, if the artist explains what they're doing and how, and they add much detail so they make it quick. Yes, I agree with that too. What's a good way to learn gesture? When I attempt it, usually looks stiff and not at all like the tutorials. The first thing I would say, Diego, for that is like, don't, one, speed, and two, don't worry about making mistakes. Like for instance, like my gestures are pretty, like, I would say my gestures are pretty advanced. The only reason why I'm confident in saying that is because a professional told me it's pretty advanced. Like for instance, for this, you want to just break it down as quickly as you can into like, okay, so you get a head's doing this, chest is doing this, then you get, I would say, like, you got hips going this way, that's going that way, and I'm doing a really bad job because it's been a while since I've done like really simple gestures, but gesture is really you want to do a lot of speed. I can give you a quick like couple of like theories. Opposing curves theory will allow you to not have stiff drawings. So what that means is, like, if you have a curve that's going this way, your next curve will go the opposite direction, because if you have two curves in a row like this, you have a break in your momentum. Another thing is like really looking at shoulders versus hips. They should be it's called contrapposto, but they should be balancing themselves out, like counterbalancing themselves. It's another thing. But yeah, when you're following tutorials, time yourself. Start off just doing like 30 seconds. And then 45, and then a minute. And again, don't stress, don't worry too much about what it looks like at first. Just keep practicing, and it'll eventually come. I know that's a bad answer sometimes, but it's true. Like, it takes a really long time to get decent at gesture. All right, so let's finish this up here. A few more hands. Yeah, no problem at all. Again, it's I say this a lot, but art is a marathon. It's not a race. It takes time, but that's okay. Oh, sorry. One last thing is complete lines like this. Like, don't do choppy lines. If you need to go back over a line, either undo and redo it, or go over it like that, like long strokes. That's another thing that kills people's gestures. Alright, buddy, give me 1 minute and I'll take care of you. I'm almost done. Max, get down, bud. Get down. Get down. Max, please stop. Get down. Get down. Max, please stop. Mike, as for anatomy, I find female and male hand and arms kind of difficult to make, like the differences. Maybe in the male it's obvious about the arms, but what about the hands? I would say like one way to make hands for females look a little bit more feminine is like the bones of female hands, I would say for the most part protrude more because they're thinner, whereas male hands you're gonna have a thicker palm. Another good way is like for female hands, if you round off the fingertips, it'll help, and if you square off the fingertips, it'll be more masculine. So think of males as like blocky, and then females as more round. That's how I like to look at it. But it really like the other thing too is obviously like fingernails and like painted nails and things like that would help with more feminine looking nails versus or hands versus a male. But hands are a little bit more tricky. because you can have, like, for instance, you can have a female person that is like works construction and probably has tougher hands than I do, right? So I mean, you could say that about any specific person, but that would be my advice. The thin and round for female, thick and blocky for male. Women have a smaller palm to finger ratio, but it's a very subtle difference. That might be true. I'm not sure. I have not studied that, to be honest with you, but that might be 100% accurate. Have smaller palm to finger ratio. Yeah, I think y'all said opposite things. I'm not sure. Like, my guess would have actually been that females' fingers on average at least appear longer than males. But again, I'm not 100% sure. So I can't give like a definitive answer. I could just give a guess, which would be what I said. Oh, thank you, Dr. Frederick. Also, welcome to the channel. I haven't seen you on here before. But yeah, I try to do the simplest shapes that I can for hands because they're so complicated. Started like, I think I started at 6.
It takes me 4%.
Yeah, well, I think I started at 5:30 actually, but I said I was gonna try to stream earlier. My dad called, and I talked to him for like a half hour, and yeah. Okay, we can get pizza. I'm almost done. I'll probably be done. I think this is my second to last hand, so I'll be done in like 15 minutes max. Sorry, my wife walked in. Oh, okay. Cool. Well, thank you for hopping on the chat. Appreciate it. Oh, that was the last hand. So yeah, just so I basically filled up a whole page here. Pizza takes priority. Yep. So yeah, this I'm pretty happy with today's work. Yeah, everything came out pretty good. It's funny when you're drawing something. Oh, this is one thing I do want to say. When you're drawing, if it feels like it's not going well, do two things. One, take a break, but two, when you take, sorry, this is kind of three things, I guess. Take your break, number one. Two, when you're doing your break, don't step away from the computer. Do something that you feel confident about, like that you like doing in art, for like 5-10 minutes so that you have a better mood. And then 3, come back to that thing that you were struggling with and look at it again, because I even notice, like, on stream when I'm drawing stuff like my imaginative drawings, as I was drawing them, I kept feeling like, oh man, there's a mistake here, there's a mistake there. And then I look back at it and it looks pretty good, right? It's not that much different than the other drawings that I had. I think this arm I could still work on a bit, but I'm not going to do it right this second. But that's something that I highly recommend you do. You're struggling with something, take a break, do something that you enjoy art-wise, and then come back to that thing a little later, right? Take like a 15-20 minute break after you've done the thing that you enjoy, and then come back later. The reason why that second step is so important is because you don't want to leave your desk or whatever you're doing in a bad mood, because then you're going to start, over time, you'll start to think about art in a negative light. So take the time to do something you enjoy, have fun with, and then come back to that piece again after you've taken a break, because you look at it and you might be like, oh, this isn't so bad, or you look at it with fresh eyes and say, this is what I was doing wrong. All right, so that's it for me for today. I think that I'll try to start doing 2 streams a week, not next week, but maybe the week after, just so I can, 1, I want to get more practice in, but 2, obviously I want to connect with y'all a little bit more. I feel like I've been doing a bad job on my channel of just connecting, and I'm also going to try to do videos that are like the standard long videos and stuff like that to post. I don't know exactly when I'll start that, but I'm going to do my best to get some actual videos out for y'all too. Thank y'all so much. It was a great chat today. That was the best chat we've had in a really long time. Feel free to always come back and chat with me. I really do enjoy talking with all of you and answering questions. But I will see you in the next one. Love you all. Thanks for the support, and have a good rest of your night.